after you've come and gone. They're going to be the ones that's sitting there having to manage that property. They're the ones that know where the best quality tenants want to basically live. They know the most in-demand property types. You can get so much by interviewing property managers in each of those targeted markets, narrowing it down to exactly what is the best property type to buy in that market. I've got a number of things on my 21-point checklist. I just wanted to go over a few things specifically with regards to what that checklist is designed to do. I want to attract the best quality tenants. My checklist is designed to make sure that my holding experience as a landlord is they call me the lazy investor because I like to put in no more than 1 hour a month to managing my property portfolio. 1 hour a month. Yep, I guess I earned the title of the lazy investor the right way. But I want to attract good quality tenants. I don't want to just buy a property that I think, yeah, that's going to go up in value, and then I pull my hair out because the quality of tenants isn't in line with what I would like to have as their holding experience. So quality tenants is very much part of my 21-point checklist. It's designed to bring out those characteristics. How can I achieve incredibly strong yields because I want that lunch money experience? How can I maintain maximum occupancy? I want a property that's going to be very rentable, very, very rentable. I want maximum occupancy. Many people are surprised to know that many of the markets I target have less than 1% vacancy rate. That's for every 100 properties in the rental market in that particular area, less than one are actually vacant. Guys, there's some great ways to target incredibly high occupancy areas, and I've got a great part of my checklist to achieve that. Quality of construction. I don't want properties that are going to give me problems, so quality of construction is on my checklist. Quality of the community. I want to be part of a great community. I don't want to be in some rental area. I don't want to look like we're part of some whole cluster of rental properties. That won't attract great quality tenants. I want to be amongst great home owners. I want to be in quality subdivisions and quality areas that attract quality tenants and are going to become the most liquid, the most sellable, the most rentable. Guys, this is about being smart as an investor. My 21-point checklist is designed to achieve a lot of things. I want the most liquid properties available, the most liquid in the way they rent, they sell, just no problems for me. Like I said, they call me the lazy investor. I certainly don't want to put in any of my time. I don't want to be using any more than an hour of my time per month to manage my properties. But I also want to make sure that if I need to sell one, it'll sell quick. If I need a tenant, I'll get a tenant quick. I want liquid properties. Step number 6 in the lunch money property investing system is all about controlling the deal. As you work your way towards taking possession of the property, it's very important that you have a thorough checklist to make sure that the whole deal doesn't go pear-shaped. You could start thinking you've got one deal and end up at the end with much more in the way of costs and hidden expenses and blowouts, and we don't want that to happen. We've got a thorough 24-point checklist that you simply must know in controlling the deal. I'll give you a few pointers on this, but for many of you, you're going to get a lot of great stuff from the free tool, the free gift that I promised you at the start of this presentation. After today's presentation, we're going to send you an email with a link. That's where you'll be able to download the seven Dirty Tricks DVD. This will give you a great insight into many of the ways that we protect ourselves to make sure that deals don't go pear-shaped. For the full 24-point checklist, obviously you'll get that inside of my trainings, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But please make sure you check out the Dirty Tricks DVD as well. Let's talk about a few of the points with regards to safety. Inside of my checklist, most of the checklists are designed to improve safety, to make sure that we can control a deal. So reality is we want to make sure that right up front, the key thing, one of the key things that I say to people straight away is don't let the builder, developer, owner, don't let them set the price. I always buy at valuation. I always get a bank panel value or valuation done up front. That's how I set the price on any property I buy around Australia. I always make sure I've got fixed price contracts. You know, it's the classic mistake, where someone says, oh, I can do a house and land package for $395,000. I'm going to lock myself into that deal. And of course, the developer rubs his hands together because he knows by the end of the process, you could end up paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more than what you entered into a contract to pay because you haven't fixed that price, that contract. We want to make sure you only enter into fixed price contracts. I can show you how to do this. How do you cap the holding costs? So if you're in the middle of a construction loan, you've decided to enter a contract with someone that's going to build you a little house and land package, as an example, in a particular market, you want to make sure that during the construction phase, you cap how much you will allow for interest, servicing the interest on that loan until your tenants move in. We've become the masters of this. We've capped the holding costs. So once it goes over a certain level, whether it's a certain amount or a certain length of time of construction, once it goes over a certain point, the developer has to pay your interest for you. I'll show you how to do this. One of the really cool things that we do a lot. Make sure you know your numbers up front. Part of my checklist, part of the whole formula within Control the Deal is to make sure that you know that the numbers aren't going to blow out. Guys, I can't wait to share this stuff with you. These are the mistakes that so many of us have made. I've made many of these mistakes myself, but I want to protect you from making those same mistakes in the future. You can save yourself tens of thousands of dollars alone just on this one section of the 7 keys. Step number 7 is all about duplication. It's about getting the properties working for us. Now, this is a missing link for a lot of B and C grade investors. So used to just having to roll their sleeves up and go to work saving for the deposit for the next investment property. Duplication for a lunch money property investor is certainly all about putting the properties to work for you. And this is a very new expectation. You see, the big myth in the past is that the buy and hold strategy is slow, and this has left it, I think, with an expectation or an acceptance that it's okay to buy an investment property and for it to take years to turn into some sort of equity growth. Guys, I don't think this is acceptable at all. Many investors, many B and C grade investors that buy in their own market and expect that one day it'll go to work for them. One day they'll look like a rock star for buying that property. And the truth is, one day they will look like a rock star. But I ask the question, how much pain have they gone through in the process of holding that property until they achieve that capital growth? If you've got to put in $200 a week, $300 a week, some of the numbers that I see that are just crazy if they're not using lunch money, plus you're in a situation where you've got to wait 4 years, 5 years, 6 years to get the capital growth, that's a double combo for me, and it's totally unacceptable. I do believe in buy and hold. I do follow a buy and hold strategy, but I follow an accelerated buy and hold strategy where I want to buy properties using $1 deposits. I want to have lunch money holding experiences, but I want the properties to go to work for me sooner, not later. Just like if I was employing an employee, I wouldn't say to that employee, you know what, go to work one day. One day go to work, take a holiday first and go to work one day down the track. Of course, you'd want it the other way around. You'd want them to go to work today and have a holiday somewhere down the track. So why would you do it with your properties? Why would you allow your properties to sit in your portfolio doing nothing for years? I have a very different expectation on my properties. And one of the things that I've noticed which really changed my whole mindset with regards to where I buy and what I buy was when I started studying markets more closely. You see, what I noticed when I studied cycles, and from peak to peak of a cycle, I noticed that most cycles took from 7 to 10 years to go through there from peak to peak stage, from 12 o'clock right around the clock to 12 o'clock again. But even more interesting for me was when I noticed that in these periods of time, in these full cycle periods, as much as 2/3 of that cycle, nothing happens. That's right, nothing happens. If this cycle was 10 years long, for example, it's quite often and quite common that I've noticed that about 2/3 of that full period, the market's been very, very flat. It's achieved nothing. It's just been sitting there, tinkering away, waiting for a 7 o'clock market to kickstart the market again. And it's usually for me, as I see these 2/3, 1/3 phenomenons roll out time and time again, all of the growth appearing in just 1/3 of a property cycle. Once you know that exists, and once you're as familiar with it as me, you'll never, ever buy anywhere but 7 o'clock in a market. Why would you buy 5 or 6 years earlier, knowing that you're going to have to wait 5 or 6 years to get the capital growth, if you can buy at 7 o'clock and get the whole growth that's due for that full cycle in 1/3 of the time? Once you know about 7 o'clock markets and this 2/3, 1/3 phenomenon, I guarantee you, you'll never be able to buy anywhere but 7 o'clock again. Look, understanding the property cycles, the booms and correction periods, this roller coaster ride to a C grade investor can be pretty daunting. But what an A grade investor sees